Iron in diet is present basically in two forms, either in heme iron form, heme iron is present in non-vegetarian diet, or as non-heme iron. So this heme iron actually is better absorbed than non-heme iron. So non-veg diet, whatever iron is there as heme iron, that is better absorbed, and approximately 25% of this iron is absorbed, but non-heme iron, only 5% of the iron in diet is absorbed. Now, the absorption takes place in duodenum mostly, and some part of proximal small intestine, other part of small intestine as well. Okay, but mostly it is covered, happening in duodenum. Okay, so here this is the luminal side of intestine and this is the basolateral side. So here what we see that this is the duodenal epithelial cell and there is villi projecting. On this intestinal border, we have this ferrireductase enzyme is there. It is also known as DYCB. Basically, duodenal cytochrome B. Okay, duodenal cytochrome B enzyme is there, which converts the ferric form of iron into the ferrous form. Now this is important. Why? Because it is the ferrous form of iron which can cross the membranes. So always you see it will be the ferrous forms of iron which will be crossing the membranes. But it is transported and stored as ferric forms, right? So by this enzyme, duodenal cytochrome B, the ferric ion is converted to ferrous ion, and then this ferrous ion moves into the cell in the intracellular compartment via another transporter, that is divalent metal transporter 1. Okay, divalent because this is two valency is there, right? So divalent metal, iron is a metal, divalent metal transporter 1. So this moves inside into the intracellular compartment of the cell. Now heme iron, there is another transporter, direct heme transporter. So it will directly transport heme from the luminal side to the intracellular compartment, and within the intracellular compartment there is an enzyme heme oxygenase which will act on these hemes and remove the globin part and the ferrous part separately. Okay. Now this ferrous has two pathways. Either it can go out of the cell, that is one, or it can remain within the cell, right? Now that depends on the requirement of the iron. So if the iron requirement is more, this iron will go out of the cell. If body doesn't need iron, then the iron remains intracellularly in this intestinal epithelial cell. Okay, so what I am trying to tell you here, that absorption of iron is regulated depending on the requirements. So how this regulation is brought about? So first let us see how it is getting absorbed. So on the basolateral side of this intestinal epithelial cell, we see there is a transporter, that is ferroportin. So this ferroportin basically transports this ferrous form outside, and along with this ferroportin there is another protein attached, hephaestin. Okay, so here it is shown separately, but you will see other books it will be like this. So if this is ferroportin, you will see that they will show one diagram where hephaestin, another protein, is associated with this ferroportin, and this is much better way of depicting. Why? That you see that as the transport of iron occurs in the ferrous form by the ferroportin, immediately this iron is converted into the ferric form. So it is associated movements. They are occurring simultaneously. Iron is moving out and this ferrous form is getting converted to ferric form immediately, and this hephaestin is responsible for conversion of ferrous to ferric form. Then this ferric binds to the protein transferrin which is present in the plasma. So iron is transported as ferric form combined with transferrin, and this transferrin either goes to the cells where it is required, where the iron is required, or it goes to the storage site, and the main storage site for iron is liver. Okay, so either it is taken by the hepatocellular cells or it goes to the erythroid marrow, because the iron is present in the hemoglobin. So where it will go? It will go to the developing cells which will form erythrocytes, the RBC. So that is erythroid marrow. Okay, so that's what we discussed, that how iron is absorbed. Ferroportin associated with hephaestin, right? Now if the storage form of iron is more, so here say suppose liver has already lot of storage of iron is there, so in that case liver releases a protein that is hepcidin. Hepcidin it releases. Now this hepcidin goes and blocks this ferroportin 1. Okay, so if this ferroportin transporter is blocked, will iron move from the intracellular compartment to the basolateral side? No, it won't be able to move. So it will remain intracellularly, and intracellularly it will be converted from ferrous to ferric form, and it will be stored as mucosal ferritin here, right? Now, in some time, there will be loss of this epithelial cells. So, there is shedding of duodenal epithelial cells, and that intestinal cells turnover is very high. So, with the loss of this intestinal epithelial cells, the iron which is present here, that will also be lost. Okay, understanding. So, very important fundamental concept it is that absorption of iron is regulated in our body. We don't have any excretory regulated pathway for iron. It is the absorption which is regulated, and this here with the iron which is trapped here, if the iron requirement is fulfilled in the body, if there are adequate stores and the iron which is trapped here, this is also lost along with the epithelial cell. So this is known as, there is a term for this, mucosal trap. Mucosal trap of iron. Okay. So that was about the iron absorption. We saw that intestinal epithelial cell, there are transporter for heme transporter is there. Then for non-heme iron, first it is converted from ferric to ferrous by DYCB enzyme, duodenal cytochrome B, and then ferrous is transported intracellularly by divalent metal transporter 1. And then it moves from the intracellular side to the basolateral side by ferroportin 1, which is associated with hephaestin, and this ferroportin 1 can be blocked by another protein, that is hepcidin. Now this is very important to know because it has significance in another disease, that is hemochromatosis, that we are going to discuss later. Okay, so that was about the iron absorption we have discussed. So what are the factors which affect iron absorption? There are factors which increase the iron absorption, and there are factors which decrease the iron absorption. So increased iron absorption occurs based on the demand. Okay, so when there is increased demand, for example, if there is increased synthesis of RBCs, so the erythroid precursor cells which are there, that is the pronormoblast, they will divide more. So that means iron requirement will be more. So in that case, these erythroblasts produce a protein that is erythroferrone. Okay, and this erythroferrone actually inhibits hepcidin. So this hepcidin which we talked before, okay, which is inhibiting ferroportin, so it is not allowing iron absorption to occur. So this erythroblast actually produce erythroferrone which blocks, which inhibits hepcidin, so that hepcidin is not able to act on ferroportin and iron absorption can continue. Okay, so that's how erythroid hyperplasia increases iron absorption. Then next component is vitamin C. Vitamin C actually keeps dietary iron in ferrous state. Okay, so it is keeping it in reduced state in the ferrous state, and we have seen that non-heme iron is absorbed in ferrous state. Then the factors which decrease iron absorption include milk. Okay, so suppose you have given iron supplementation to somebody and they take milk along with that, then iron will not be absorbed. Okay, then phytates and tannates, these are basically present in tea, coffee, and these phytates tannates bind to non-heme iron and form non-absorbable insoluble compounds. So obviously iron will not be absorbed. Then decreased gastric acidity. So that is also important because acidic environment actually facilitates the conversion of ferric to ferrous form. So if acidity is less, this is not going to take place and the dietary iron will remain in ferric form, so it will not be absorbed. So that was about the iron absorption in the duodenum and the factors affecting the iron absorption. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, do press the like button, do share the video with others, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel Physiology Open.